So the Chicago Bears just found an unexpected advantage, and there's a big worry, right? For me, at least, it's how the Bears are going to generate pass rush and their efficiency, especially along the defensive line. So I got two words for you here: versatility and scheme. The Bears have done a sneaky good job of finding the right pieces for Dennis Allen's scheme, and it needs to be, because this is actually something that we don't love to see. The Bears had the fourth most expensive defense in the NFL. I didn't realize this, but this tells us something, right? The time for it to come together as well, it's right now, right? And maybe the nicest piece added to this puzzle is rookie Shamar Turner. I absolutely love this player. I absolutely love this pickup. The guy plays like his hair is on fire. Just exactly the kind of attitude we need here. But also, no one's talked about his versatility, his perfect fit within this new defensive scheme. So let's kind of break this down a little bit. And Steve Latiza of CFC Bears, he had just an incredible, insightful look at this. And I'm going to kind of pull from that a little bit. So he's talking about watching Dennis Allen's defense and how he lines up his defensive ends. And it really reminds us, if we're watching the tape, it reminds us a lot of how Texas A&M used Shamar Turner in 2023. So check this out. Turner spent most of his 2023 playing on the edge, mostly 4-eye and also 6-tech. But then after Nick Scourton, after he hit the transfer portal to College Station, Turner, he actually moved inside to make room. Now, part of the reason that a lot of scouts weren't super high on Turner this year is because he kind of always looked like a defensive end trying to play defensive tackle. But now if you look how Dennis Allen, how he used Cam Jordan. Cam Jordan's at 6'4", 287. These are similar profiles here. And also Carl Granderson. He graded out at 6'5" and 265. How he used these two players in New Orleans, it gives us a pretty good look about how he can use Turner. Turner's 6'3" and 290, how he could really fit into a similar role. And if he fits into those roles of Granderson, of Jordan, we are going to have something really, really nice here. Those guys lined up absolutely everywhere along the line, everywhere from 2-eye to wide 9, absolutely fits Shamar Turner's strengths perfectly. And if you throw in the 2023 Texas A&M tape, Turner, he actually shows more burst, more bend than either Granderson or Cam Jordan did last season. Granted, Granderson is 35 years old, so I don't know about you, but as I've aged, my bend has become limited. But I fully expect anyways Dennis Allen to use Turner the exact same way, move him up and down the defensive line, and it makes Shamar Turner such a sneaky advantage, such a sneaky pick, and the Bears were able to pluck a guy that kind of fell just a little bit, mostly because NFL teams wanted to profile him at a specific spot without really getting into his versatility. So I really like this pick from the Bears. I think it gives them a sneaky advantage. But what do you got to say, though? It's not really going to come to fruition. We're not going to know exactly what we have until the pads go on at camp. But whether they can count on Dio, whether he can move inside in pass rushing situations, who they would then look to at edge if Dio ends up flipping inside quite a bit. And then you're thinking about Gervon Dexter. He looks like a Greek god. Like his body transformation over the last 2 seasons, that's going to allow him to be way more versatile. If you remember, earlier in camp, he was actually running drills with the defensive ends and doing so successfully. That's a really important thing to remember. And then we're looking at starting out games with either Dexter or Andrew Billings next to Grady Jarrett inside. And then what can they expect from Shamar Turner? I think we're going to see the line solidified, these roles solidified as camp goes on and we get into actual contact drills. But I think this is such a really sneaky advantage, the scheme fit for this player. And then let's talk about the scheme specifically, because I think the Bears are going to be a lot of fun to watch. This Dennis Allen scheme, I absolutely love this. We're going to see a lot of cover 1 pressure, which is actually going to be refreshing. No more going back, almost looking like a prevent defense under, I've been trying to forget his name, Coach Eberflus, trying to forget his name. But you saw a lot of defensive schemes towards the end of games that you're like, why are the Bears in defense? That looks like a prevent, right? No more in Dennis Allen. This is a scheme that's predicated on pressure, aggressiveness, more cover one pressure, and he's been a top defensive coordinator for so many years. You're going to absolutely love watching his creativity, especially on third down with this 3-2 and load package. This is going to be so much fun. I am so glad to see this coaching change at defensive coordinator. And then we're kind of looking at Dennis Allen's scheme. Now, keep in mind the body transformation of Jervon, the versatility of rookie Shamar Turner. You're looking at Dio being able to bounce inside and out. You're just looking at these pieces and also being able to rotate in Grady Jarrett. And you've got our absolute stud, our immovable force in Andrew Billings. Things really went south after Billings got hurt. He is back and loaded and fully healthy. This defensive line is going to be killer. So, and you're looking at Allen's scheme. It's basically utilizing movement by linemen, and some of the players even commented so far. Sweat, defensive tackle Andrew Billings in particular, they've talked about how involved the movement is. Guys, this is a really good thing, but this is also a difficult playbook to learn, and that's been talked about too, but this just caught my attention. We talk about the versatility of the offense as being a huge plus. It's looking like the same can be said for this defensive line. Now, let's really look at this. I think there's a ton of encouragement here. We may have all the pieces already on this roster that we need to succeed. So, kind of looking as well how this defensive line rates for creating mismatches. And this is really the meat and potatoes of this video. This is the part that I really love digging into. And if you look at the NFL, one of the things that are really indicative that people don't really take into account is line versatility. It's in terms of where players start plays from. It shows positive potential for the Bears, even if they've lagged behind other NFC North teams in this area. And one of the main players, once again, really intriguing, is rookie Shamar Turner. Got an ability to play tackle or end, and his ability to move around really lends itself well to Dennis Allen's scheme. So we're looking at the Bears' basis for the Bears signing defensive end Dio Odango was his versatility as well. And let's just hear the defensive coordinator talk about this. This is straight from Dennis Allen. I think one of the things that he does exceptionally well, and he's talking about Dio, I think he moves inside and passing downs and rushes really well from the interior. I think we have some options there, and certainly that's like one of the main points of my pass rush in this scheme. Everybody talks about these speed rushers off the edge, but really, it's about the interior pocket pressure that you have to have. That allows guys like Montez to be able to have some success coming off the edge. So what's he saying? What he's saying is that the more versatile, the better on the inside is the idea. And then we're looking at, according to a study from PFF, the Bears should be set up really well in the future as well for becoming more dominant defensively because basically these linemen are able to flip around positions. And in this article about entropy on the line or randomness of position, they saw it as extremely valuable and determined the Bears had an entropy rate last year in the top half of the league. Now, this is really interesting. Coupled with the Bears, if you actually look at the stats, they had more sacks than some of the top teams like the Lions, like the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a lot of encouragement here. It's being able to do defensively what Ben Johnson does offensively, and that's create mismatches. This is something that really gets missed. And the Bears were 13th in the league last year at being able to line up in different places on the line last year, and that's before they even acquired Dio. That's before they even drafted Shamar. And they also rated 19th individually among all defensive linemen for versatility. So there seems to be some questions here, but we're kind of looking at Gervon Dexter, though. He actually lined up 215 of his 611 snaps at a position other than his regular 3-tech. That includes 144 at the end, but he wasn't even on their chart in the top 20. So I'm not sure how that happened. And you're looking at Odangbo playing 580 of his 742 snaps outside the tackle, and he was on their list in the top 20 anyways. So regardless, this bodes really well for the Bears as far as their versatility. Even last year, moving into this Dennis Allen scheme, I think this is going to be a sneaky advantage, this versatility. I can cut into this a little more, but I just want to kind of keep it simple. There are so many encouraging signs as far as personnel on not only the offense, but on the defense. And I think this need that's in the media a lot about the Bears having to, we've got to add a defensive end to this team. Where are we going to generate pass rush? The engine of this defense is going to be based on the versatility of the interior of this defensive line. And I'm telling you, sacks are going to come. And last year, as far as pressure rates and sack numbers, the Bears stacked up pretty favorably against some of the top teams. I think the sky is going up. I think we are in such good shape as a team, and I don't think we're going to be disappointed one bit about the performance of this defensive line, because once again, the versatility plays perfectly into what defensive coordinator Dennis Allen likes to do. You guys let me know in the comments, what do you think? What do you think is kind of our secret weapon on this defensive line that nobody's talking about? You could very well say Andrew Billings. Everything went south after he got hurt last year, but I think things have been shored up really well. Bear down. I'm going to continue to be here with Chicago Bears news on the daily, and you guys have been awesome. We'll talk soon.